Welcome to Iceland in January. It's cold, it's magical, and I'm here to show you why January is one of the best times to visit Iceland. Whether it's chasing the northern lights, exploring ice caves, or chilling in geothermal hot springs, I've got all the tips you need to plan an unforgettable winter adventure to Iceland. Hi, it's Gudny here coming at you from Wake Up Reykjavik. And before we dive into the video, I wanted to take a minute to ask you to please become a subscriber to our channel if you like Iceland related content like this. We give you all the insider information you need to plan your perfect trip to Iceland. So join our community, give this video a thumbs up, and let's get started. Now, January can feel like a peaceful post-holiday retreat here in Iceland, where you can expect to experience fewer crowds and cheaper prices of accommodation and flights. And it's a time where the raw beauty of Iceland in its true winter form really shines. In this video, I'm going to cover a few topics about everything you need to know before you plan a trip to Iceland in January. And let's kick it off with weather and packing tips. Now, January in Iceland is winter at its finest. With average temperature ranging from -2 degrees Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius, you can expect it to be a bit chilly. And the days are shorter but magical, with an average of 4 to 6 hours of daylight per day. So for this, you definitely need to pack smart. Bring thermal layers, waterproof everything, and definitely sturdy, reliable, and waterproof shoes. I've talked about packing for Iceland time and time again on this channel, so by now, you know what to bring. Now on to my favorite topic, what to do here in January in Iceland. I will talk about a few activities I would recommend for a January trip, and I will also link them in the description of this video. First up, we have chasing the northern lights. January can offer dark skies and therefore the perfect conditions for aurora hunting. And on our channel at Wake Up Reykjavik, we have two types of Northern Lights tours. We have one by coach, which is a small group experience, where they take you out to a specific part of the island where they have the most chances of seeing the Northern Lights that night. They give you hot cocoa, they give you pastries, they give you blankets, and you go out there and hopefully you see the Northern Lights. And we also have a Northern Lights by cruise option, where you start off from the old harbor of Reykjavik, you set out to sail in the Reykjavik Bay area, and on that tour they also have an inside area with restrooms and facilities where you can buy drinks and snacks, and they will also supply you with full body suits, so you can dress really warmly and just jump out when they say that the Northern Lights are on. Both tours are really great, and it ultimately comes down to what experience you want to have here. Ice cave and glacier tours. Now, January is prime time to experience Iceland's famous ice caves. They're only accessible in winter since the climate in those months makes them naturally form. And with that, no ice cave is the same season after season, since in the summertime they all melt down, and then in the winter they gradually freeze up and create a whole new natural ice cave, which is definitely very unique. We have two ways of exploring ice caves in the wintertime. We have our 2-day South Coast tour that will include all the highlights of the South Coast, including a stop at the Diamond Beach and Glacier Lagoon. And included in that tour in the wintertime is also a hike to a natural ice cave at Vatnajökull, the largest glacier in Europe. It's a great tour, we have accommodation included, and all the sightseeing stop, and of course an expert guide with you along the way. The other option to do it in the wintertime would be our Snowmobiling ice cave combo. A fantastic tour for people who love adventure, and that one takes place on Langjökull, the second largest glacier in Europe. And speaking of snowmobiling, next up we have snowmobile tours. And for adventure lovers, like I said, this is definitely a must-do tour. We have snowmobiling all year round here in Iceland because the glaciers are up all year round. But I would highly recommend doing this in the winter months, because the landscape there in the wintertime is just surreal. There's more snow on the glaciers and you can truly feel like a winter wonderland. So I highly recommend doing that tour. And last but not least, of course, our iconic Golden Circle and Secret Lagoon combo. Now the Golden Circle is stunning all year round, but winter just gives it that something little extra special in my opinion. You can see the magnificent Gullfoss waterfall completely frozen over, and that whole geyser area just illuminates in its true winter glow. And after all that day of sightseeing and fun, nothing can beat the feeling of wrapping it up in a hot geothermal lagoon with a winter breeze blowing in your face and you relaxing with a nice cold beer. How amazing does that sound? For January, you can definitely do most of the tours we offer here, maybe not the puffin and whale ones, but these would be a few of my favorites. Next up, I'm going to talk about special events in January. First on the list is of course January 1st or New Year's Day. I would say not much is happening on this day, since the whole country is in unison just hungover really. So you can expect many shops and establishments to be closed on January 1st. But things will start to open up in the afternoon, maybe around 5 or 6 p.m, and especially bars and restaurants. Then on the 6th of January, we have 13, the official last day of Christmas here in Iceland. And this is a really special day for Icelanders since families will come together and have a nice meal at home. And then they will usually wrap up the evening by going out to a brenna, or a bonfire. And this is something we have been doing for centuries and centuries. And this is also a pretty magical night, because it's said that many creatures like elves, fairies and trolls are out and about at 13. And we have many weird Icelandic superstitions related to that day. One of them states that on 13 you can hear cows talking together in human language. And the superstition says that if you hear cows talking together, you must not listen, because the cows speaking in human tongue will drive you insane. Now, I haven't heard cows talk. I'm not about to at this point. So if I walk past a cow on 13, I'll just go like this. La 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 la. And I'm good. I'm not about to be insane. Also in January, we have the start of Þorrin, or Harvesting Festival. That takes place on Bóndadagurinn. And Bóndadagurinn, or Farmer's Day, always starts on the Friday of the 3rd week of the new year. So this can range from the 19th until the 25th of January. And on that day, it is custom for you to do something special for the men in your life. Maybe bring them flowers, give them a beer, cook them a nice breakfast. And then in February, we have Women's Day, where the men do the same for the women. Cute little tradition. And this officially kicks off our Þorrin, which is our harvesting festival, where we celebrate by eating a bunch of weird, funky Icelandic stuff. Which is definitely not the best if you ask me, but it's a fun time. And lastly, I want to wrap up the video by giving you some tips to keep in mind when traveling to Iceland in January. My first tip is something I'm constantly saying, but it's simply to do day tours. In January, with the unpredictable weather, storms can occur. And if you're not an experienced driver, you can find yourself in risky, icy, windy and hazardous conditions. And I always say, just skip that, stay in the city, do day tours where a trained professional will pick you up in an equipped car and estimate if the conditions are safe or not. It's just way easier. And this leads into my next tip, which is to have plan Bs and to be prepared. Because let's say you are driving yourselves and you get stuck on the East Coast for 2 days because the weather is so bad. What's the plan then? Or even if you're in the city and your day tour to Snæfellsnes gets cancelled because the winds are just so heavy. What's the plan then? The weather can definitely impact Iceland trips all year round, but in the heart of the winter months, it is a bit more likely that storms can occur. And by staying in the city and doing day tours, you definitely have more things to do in case your day tour gets cancelled. Because museums are not going to close, activities in Reykjavík are not going to close, and we also have tours to do in Reykjavík, like our Reykjavík food walk, which is definitely my favorite tour that we have, and a great plan B to keep in mind. And with that, I highly recommend you get travel insurance. As I've been saying, the winter can affect travel plans, and this can then of course also apply to flights. I feel so bad when I hear from people who contact us after a tour has already taken place and they tell us that their flight got delayed or cancelled or whatever. And if the tour has already taken place and started and it's not within the cancellation policy, there's not much we can do because we still face extra charge, we still have to pay the guides, we still have to pay gas, and we have no way of getting other people onto that tour with no notice. But if you have travel insurance, they can come in there and cut those otherwise lost fees and just offer you a bit of peace of mind. So I always recommend travel insurance, especially for traveling in winter. And the last one, super simple and quick, keep your phone charged. In the winter months, in the colder climate, your phone battery can drain out faster. So it's definitely smart to bring an extra power bank with you when on outings, just in case you want to snap a pretty photo of the landscape, maybe even the northern lights show up, or if you meet me on the main shopping street and you need to snap a quick selfie. I mean, you never know. I'm always pretty selfie ready, just saying. And there we have it. January can be a fantastic month to visit Iceland. And if you're ready to start planning for your big trip, definitely check out our other videos and visit our website, wakeupreykjavik.com. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!